Hey, welcome everybody to the next conversation we are having in Mindful to Mindful Talks. My name is Vikram Shastri, and I'm privileged to welcome our guest for today. His name is Sandeep Sandhar. And if you really look at his journey of his, from a resume point of view, he did his MBA in IMT Ghaziabad. He was a state level hockey player, an avid mountaineer, trekker, photographer, even has written a few poems, and he also had a glorious corporate career, if you will, looking at all the kind of companies that he worked in. He worked in Maruti Suzuki. He worked in Samsung, and then he jumped on to National Geographic, and and then he gave up his corporate career to create his own startup on travel, and he created a startup called Roads Less Traveled, for which he led for 5 years, and then it was acquired by Oyo. And if you look at his journey, it's amazing because every point in time he has taken decisions with courage to shift from one type of a corporate to another, where the work was totally different, and at the same time he jumped on to becoming an entrepreneur, and all the while behind the scenes he was meditating and trying to inculcate the benefits of mindfulness. So this conversation is with Sandeep to explore his internal journey with his external journey and see what we can take home as well. I welcome Sandeep into the talk show. So meditation is hard, and many people have heard about it, know about it, etc. So there needs to be a very strong reason for somebody to meditate. Like probably, when you did yoga nidra, or earlier on, you were able to see that glimpse that yes, there is something that I could probably get to by meditation, but this doesn't happen for everybody, right? Like one, so when you don't see that glimpse of what is possible, and so how do you now, when you're starting newly and you're not seeing the effect or impact, and it's hard, and people are saying it's an individual journey.
Yeah.
So what is, how, give us a suggestion of how to keep that motivation alive, and even for somebody to even say, why should somebody meditate at all, some kind of a light which can help us pull through this first stage.
I think one just needs to browse through a few science journals of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is not a single reason that why one shouldn't meditate.
Right.
All the data, thankfully, the neuroscience is there, epigenetics is there. So all these sciences are bringing together and proving, what we intuitively knew for thousands of years. In
Right.
our tradition, all the philosophies and all the religions have been teaching this
Right.
all the while, and we all, I think, all the while we also intuitively knew that
Right.
this is great, and everyone should be doing it. But now science is giving us the hard facts, right?
Mm.
So many studies on mindfulness, so many studies on transcendental meditation, art of living. So all the traditions are carrying out their individual studies, as well as some synthesis is also happening.
Right.
So many studies on mindfulness have told that within a period of uh, 2 months,
Mm.
some changes start happening in at least two-thirds of the people.
Right.
So that is startling. I mean, when I'm personally teaching meditation, I say don't even expect anything for years, right? Science is saying yes, it does start for so many people.
Right.
You can see the changes happening. And what kind of changes? If you look at the lifestyle disorders
Mm-hmm.
do get reduced.
Mm.
Any meditation and mindfulness practice. So lifestyle
Right.
disorders like the heart disease, your blood pressure, diabetes. So all of that can be
Right.
managed better if one is
Mm.
meditating.
Mm.
So many health benefits come
Right.
out of it. If you look at working the corporate, and
Mm.
emotional intelligence is the buzzword these days.
Absolutely.
We all agree that the days of only the IQ are gone, and people with higher emotional intelligence. So you enroll in any emotional intelligence course or you want to build that skill, the
Right.
first thing that you learn is meditation and mindfulness.
Right.
That is the thing that builds it up.
Right.
And again, studies have proven that people who are meditating or employees who are meditating are
Hmm.
happier, they are more productive,
Right.
right? They are more creative.
Right.
The absenteeism of such employees from office is less. Their motivation to work is less.
Right. Right.
They are engaged in very less, quarrels and fights with different people at the
Right.
workplace.
Right.
So all the data suggests that one should. There is not a single point of data out there that says that one should not meditate. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but the only piece of advice or piece of importance is that one should keep doing it.
Right.
It is not a few months thing.
Fantastic. So point taken. So let's say somebody who's watching this gets inspired. They've heard of meditation, but now they want to try. So, and you have already said, don't stick on to one thing. Experiment. Start. Show up every day. Even for a few minutes. So, how long should one meditate, especially in the beginning? Is it again dependent on the individual, or do you have any recommendations there?
So it totally depends on the person,
Sure.
because it's like, the individual aushadhi or individual medicine has to be created for each person.
Right.
So again, you shouldn't compare that, people on this app are meditating for on an average 20 minutes, then I also have to meditate for 20 minutes.
Right.
Or the organization, which I'm going to, which is teaching me meditation, so they are prescribing half an hour.
Right.
So but you need to talk to your teacher and figure out, will a lesser time work for me, because I'm finding it tough to
Mm,
sit for half an hour.
right.
So I think it's getting it done is more important than
Mm,
getting it done in a perfect manner, or
sure.
waiting for a perfect way, that only when my spine is absolutely straight, when I'm able to sit in a lotus position,
Right.
and minimum of 20 minutes. If you're not able to do any of that, it's perfectly fine.
Right.
The only thing is, as I was saying earlier, is to show up for a practice. Whether you
Sure.
choose 5 minutes, that's fine. The
Sure.
deal is to keep doing it for 5 minutes for a
Period of
long enough
time.
period of time,
Right. Right.
when you can increase it to maybe say 10 or 15 minutes. So it's totally up to the person.
Sure.
Showing up is more important.
Sure.
And then again, if you're not if you're getting or if this is not working for you at this stage,
Mm,
try another one.
absolutely.
Don't blame yourself too much, because people
Mm,
take on a lot of burden on themselves. No, it's not working for me, my mind is too jittery.
right.
Every person who comes to meditate, his mind is jittery in the beginning. So
Right.
you're not
Right.
different.
Right.
Gautam Buddha found it difficult to meditate in the beginning, so it's totally
Absolutely.
fine. I mean, don't put all the blame on yourself.
That makes me feel good actually, because my mind always is everywhere when I, sit and meditate, and it's good to know that we don't need to blame
I'll tell you
oneself.
that I was singing or I was finding, new songs every day in my mind when I started.
That's
I was like,
amazing.
what? I didn't even imagine that 6 a.m. in the morning, I'm getting out of sleep and there are these songs playing. Where did they
Right.
come from?
Right. Right.
But the key again is to be neutrally observing them. And that's
Right.
it.
Right. Now, I think that's a fantastic piece of information. So very nice. And then so now we have established that stick to the practice and start with any practice probably that you kind of quickly relate to, and move on to
Or
see.
if there is a ladder, then what can
Sure.
one can maybe give to new beginners?
Hmm.
Then it is maybe start with a guided meditation.
Right.
You
Right.
could be lying down. It could
Yeah.
be yoga nidra. It could be some other kind of guided meditation. It could
Sure.
be visual, because some people relate to the visualization more.
Right.
Some people are more auditory, so sound is better for them.
Sure.
So try that.
Sure.
Then once you're ready,
Right.
then you can do a sitting meditation. Maybe start with a 1 minute or 5 minute sitting. Attempt that.
Got it.
If you're getting it, move ahead. Or people who
Absolutely.
have done asana and pranayama on the mat, sitting there for long enough periods of time, for them it might be slightly easier to do a sitting
Right.
meditation.
Right. Right.
If sitting is still not working, go try out a dynamic meditation, walking
Mm.
meditation, or
Mm.
even there's the mindful eating, right?
Right. Right. No, that's very interesting actually. And that you brought up mindful eating. And so there are certain activities one can do in the day,
Absolutely.
which kind of also helps in that meditation or being in that meditative state, isn't it? So
Yeah.
can you elaborate some activities or some suggestions that you can give somebody
So,
like us or somebody who's new to meditation could try on?
of course, let's. So every practice has a certain set of rules. So be it Buddhist
Mhm.
mindfulness practice,
Sure.
Silas, Vedantic practices have certain prerequisites, right? So, or the yogic path, the eight
Sure.
limb path, Ashtanga Yoga. So, you can do things parallelly. I mean, one doesn't need to perfect the yam and niyam and then move on to the asanas and dhyan and
Hmm.
all those steps. So, you can do them parallelly also. So, yam and niyam, as in the Ashtanga Yoga, right?
Right.
So, you can start with that
Sure.
non-violence, although they sound very boring to begin with, right?
Right.
Non-violence. So take things which will directly impact you. So
Right.
things like gratitude.
Mm.
Again, neuroscience has given so much data on gratitude that
Right.
if you're grateful every
Mm.
day in your life, you will be much happier.
Right.
So even if you could be grateful when you are not getting the kind of things you were expecting, even
Mm.
that gratefulness for nothing also
Yeah.
is going to help you. So
Very nice.
maintaining a grateful journal
Right.
would be a great thing. Or even in the Black Lotus app itself, I think you have
Yes.
the
Yeah. Random
what
acts
do you
of
call it?
kindness and
Random acts of kindness. Yes.
right. Right.
So these things, they are scientifically proven.
Right.
You know, just being grateful that in these COVID times
Yeah.
you're still sitting at home and somebody is delivering food or somebody is delivering the groceries to you. Just being
Right.
thankful, just being grateful to those, being grateful to elders or parents,
Right.
the security guard.
Right.
So even those things are bringing some certain kind of changes in the neural wiring.
Absolutely.
And if one
Absolutely.
can practice it every day,
Yeah.
this is rewiring the brain.
Absolutely. No, I can totally relate to that, Sandeep. Initially it didn't make a lot of sense to me when I was introduced to the gratitude practice. I was like, okay, I'm thankful for my parents, for my friends, for my situation. All right. I mean, I can't say the same thing again every day. How do I make it a everyday practice? But the funny thing that happened when the practice started is, the I think it's just that what there is a very insightful statement that I read by Om Swami, the founder of Black Lotus app. He said, whatever you focus on, it gets magnified. So I could totally relate to that because the moment you start focusing on gratitude, in the beginning, you are just saying things like, okay, thank you for my food, thank you for parents, thank you for education, all big, big things. But then once you start focusing, you will start saying small things that, like as you said, a person who comes and delivers something for you. And the person who has probably a farmer who has, made that food with so much of, created that and which is there in your plate without you doing anything. And suddenly you start discovering new small things for being thankful for. And that becomes a habit, and then you probably reach a state where you're just thankful for everything that is happening, and even the good things and things that are not working, you reach a stage where you're thankful for everything, right? That's the state we should aspire to reach. But I totally resonate with what you said, actually.
You put it beautifully because it's at the end of the day, you kind of build an attitude of
Absolutely.
gratitude, right? And
Absolutely.
then you're being grateful for everything. So I've seen people who, when they are exposed to this practice, right,
Right.
on the same day itself, some
Right.
of them have called up the long lost friends from school times because there was some fight,
Absolutely.
and then they got together.
Absolutely.
Some uh, people have called up their mother-in-laws.
Right. Right.
They've been saying harsh words to them for years.
Right.
Somebody said
Right.
a harsh word years ago, so they were carrying a burden in their heart,
Right.
right? So gratitude can release a lot of this burden that we've been carrying all along.
Absolutely. And it's immediately impactful, right? You don't need
Immediate
to
impact.
wait
So
for a
they,
long
they
time.
could be small practices like just thanking the security guard
Sure.
in your heart. I mean, if you can't go out and you don't want to shake hands, right? You can
Absolutely.
just put the hand on your heart and be grateful for his service. Or you
Absolutely.
can also look at the bigger challenges that you're carrying in your heart,
Mm,
right? Or a long lost cousin who helped you in a certain situation,
right.
but you never got the opportunity to thank back.
Right.
You can call up, you can write a letter, email, whatever.
No,
And,
actually,
and it
that
brings, on an everyday basis, if we can bring it, as you said,
right.
this is
No,
going
I
to
think
require doing.
that's a fantastic insight, which also resonates with Black Lotus, because Om Swami, when he when he, during the early formation stages, he made a statement that for transformation, meditation is not enough. Meditation alone is not enough. And then we were like, okay, what should you do then? Then he said, incorporate kindness, incorporate gratitude. It is these set of activities that one does that, again, as you said, affects the brain, changes your attitude, and that kind of circles back to the way meditation also impacts you.
Yeah.
And it becomes a kind of a yin and yang, or it feeds into each other probably, and that is the basis of Black Lotus
Swamiji
as
is
well.
well.
And to coincidentally, I mean, just to state, when kindness was introduced in Black Lotus as a module, actually the app took off, and people started doing unbelievable kind acts, and one has to just go to in the app we have something called impact stories. Every day people write the kind acts that they have seen other people do, or they themselves have partaken in, and it's some of them are unbelievable, that somebody got introduced to this practice and they have done this and it's changed the world, and to somebody. And today 1 million people have been impacted through the kind acts that are logged into the app, which is stunning. And I think, as Om Swami said, and as you reiterated as well, incorporating kindness activities in daily life will probably a new kindness activity every day in daily life will take us a long way. Thank you for that corroboration. That was really
So you
insightful.
put it beautifully, because the meditation practice is not for the mat only.
Absolutely,
Mat,
absolutely.
you would be there for 20 minutes. The
Right,
remaining 23 hours and 40 minutes,
right,
you're out there.
right,
So unless one learns to, take it along, and these are
right.
the ways that one, takes them along.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, that's really encouraging to know. And any activities, look, like there are, even in the app we have actually put on some mindful activities, and you said a couple when we were talking. So I thought I would pick your brains and take some inputs. Any
Okay.
mindfulness activities that one can do in daily life, apart from the meditation itself, which
Mhm.
kind of brings back the person maybe to that meditation state or calmness state, or at least just brings back the person to the present.
Okay. So there are many things that one can do, but again, it
Sure.
depends on if you've started the practice, then it's much easier.
Right.
Simple breathing techniques when you know, you're off centered, doing a simple breathing technique can bring you to the center. So,
Sure.
but again, all of these techniques, they're all based on very one simple fact of coming back to the present moment.
Right.
Just coming back to this moment,
Right.
because most of the time the mind is on autopilot.
Absolutely.
It's a very beautiful, uh, what do you call it? That it keeps circling and always projecting things to the past, picking up, data from there, projecting things in the future, and it's always
Right.
playing along.
Right.
Coming back in this moment, using the senses. So, like we're sitting right now
Right.
and I'm imagining that even the viewers would be sitting, right?
Hmm.
Just coming back to where the weight of the body is in this moment.
Right.
Can we just sense the weight of the body on the chair?
Right.
It's as simple as that. If the feet are touching the ground, can we just sense which all portions of the feet are touching the ground. So just for a few seconds, you come back to this moment,
Right.
right? And it's a very simple thing. So mindful eating is again one of the things. Or if I'm just
Right.
drinking this water,
Right.
yeah. So being with the water for a while. So there was this beautiful story of I think it was Bodhidharma who
Mm.
went from India to China, and
China. Right.
took Buddhism there. So
Right.
I think when he was there and he had camped on a mountain.
Mm.
It was the Chinese emperor along with two of his staff members who
Mm-hmm.
went searching for him.
Okay.
So they trudged and climbed the mountain. In the full day, they
Right.
couldn't locate him, and finally they located his hut.
Right.
And he was having his soup there.
Right.
He was just drinking his soup.
Mm.
They said, "We've heard." So the Chinese emperor or whoever that
Mm.
high dignitary
Mm.
was said that, "Where is we've heard that you've come from India. You're a great saint, and you know the methods to enlightenment.
Mm.
Right? So teach me one."
Mm.
So William said, "Okay, why don't you have a seat? I'm having
Okay.
my soup.
Mm-hmm.
You have a seat, and then we'll converse." But he
Okay.
was very excited. The Chinese dignitary was very excited at that time.
Right.
He said, "No, tell me now. I want to know now." He said, "Just let me finish my soup." Then he asked his assistant if the three guys can also be served soup. He said, "Okay."
Mm.
They gave him the soup,
Mm.
but they were anxious about knowing that thing because they were
Right.
carrying that expectation.
Right.
Whereas Bodhidharma, he was in this moment with the soup,
Right.
enjoying each particle, each little drop of that soup in
Right.
that moment. You are with
Right.
it.
Right.
So they quickly finished their
Right.
soup bowls, and they were back to Bodhidharma then. Okay, now
Right.
tell us, we don't have time. He said, "I'm just having my soup."
Right.
And they were too irritated by that time. What is
I
this?
can relate to it.
I'm like a big time guy over here, and you're just telling me you're having a soup.
Right.
Then one of them pulled the sword and placed it on his neck. He
Mm.
started telling me now, or I'll chop your head off. He said,
Right.
"I'm just having my soup."
Mm.
So you're so engulfed in the sensations in the present moment,
Yeah. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
That it really doesn't matter. Then he
Right.
said, "Okay, I'll tell you. You just have a seat."
Mm.
He said, "What is the way to enlightenment?"
Mm.
This is the way to enlightenment. If you're
Have the
having a
soup.
soup, it's
You
having a
have
soup.
the soup.
If I'm having
Yeah.
a conversation with you, then I'm having
Right.
the conversation with you. I'm not planning four things at the
Right.
same time. It's just
Right.
coming to this moment.
Right.
Simple exercises
Yeah.
with mindful eating. It could be the next time you're having your salad, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
just being with the watery part of the salad,
Sure.
which you never noticed before. Okay,
Absolutely.
so suddenly even a simple eating can become a discovery
Absolutely.
of the senses,
Right.
and then going to the deeper mindfulness parts.
Fantastic. No, that's something that's doable and relatable as well because the mind is chanchal, right? So it's always either in the thinking about something that happened or planning
Absolutely.
about what should be doing next,
Yeah.
and we are hardly there in the present. I really like the the dialogue in Kung Fu Panda movie. I'm sure if you have seen it, you can
Yeah.
relate to it, and the audience I'm sure can. Where the master there says that past is history, and future is a mystery, and the present is called the present because it is a present, a gift, you know and we don't know how it is going to unfold, and all you need to do is just stick on to the present.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but it's all sounds very nice, but it's very hard to probably practice. And as you said, if across the time multiple times in a day we make it this habit, maybe have some small kind of a reminder or something like that, we just buzzes and reminds us that okay, this is time to be mindful. And one can try, maybe as you said, just focusing on breath one time, maybe on eating, or just observing the sensation of the body, or just listening to the sounds. And probably just that practice is what will help us to
Yeah.
attach
It's
to
a
that. And
repeated
yeah.
practice. It's just the repeated practice. So again, it sounds boring,
Yeah.
but it's the repeated practice of one thing is
Right.
going to lead to the rewiring of the brain.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's as simple as so all of us went to schools, right?
Hmm.
So at least I went for 12 years to one school. I
Right.
think a couple of years of preschool also. So 14
Right.
years continuously went to one place. You took some transportation, you
Right.
did the ropes.
Right.
Then were we any good after the schooling? No, it still, you now you go to college.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
after college you go for a PG, and then we were ready for, a
If-
job which we thought, oh, it's a good enough job now. So some
Absolutely.
18, 20 years of practice it took, and that
To
is hours and hours of being at the school, right?
absolutely.
Whether we
Absolutely.
liked it or not, we
Right.
had to. Right?
Absolutely.
So, so over here, and we knew that without that, you don't stand too much. You haven't learned.
Absolutely.
And we weren't liking it at that point of time. At least I
Absolutely.
didn't. I don't know about you, but
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Same here. Certainly not all
who would
parts. Yeah.
like, as a child, who would like sitting on a seat on a bench for a
Yeah.
full class and then a full
Absolutely.
day, but we had to. We endured
Absolutely.
that.
Right.
So enduring these 15, 20 minutes of sitting also,
Yeah.
it can't be so bad, right? It is
Absolutely.
tough.
No.
It is tough, but
Yeah.
it can't be that bad. We have been
Yeah.
through all of this.
Yeah.
We go and sit in boring meetings for hours and hours altogether. Just
Right.
because somebody is paying us,
Right.
right? Because you can quantify that, okay, so much of salary will come.
Right.
But if I sit here for 15 minutes every day, nobody's going to pay me anything extra to
Right.
begin with, at least to begin with.
Right.
But you're cultivating a habit, you're cultivating a practice
Right.
that's going to help you for the rest of your life,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. I
So,
think that's very well said. One needs to be ready to put in some effort and daily and wait for some time for the results to be shown. And if it took 18, 16 years to get a fresher job, as you rightly said, we better be ready to put in some, wait
yeah,
for some, results to come from
yeah,
meditation as
just
well.
15 minutes of practice,
Absolutely.
not the full
Absolutely.
day of sitting in a school or a university.
Absolutely. In fact, that's the bedrock of Black Lotus as well as Swami, we call him Swamiji said that all you need to do is put 12 to 15 minutes a day and just do it every day. And you will start witnessing the results even in 21 days time, even in just 40 days time. And once you start seeing the results, that becomes the motivation to, continue this journey. And who knows where, what might unfold. And that brings on to my last point that I really wanted to, ask you about. Somewhere you said, you decided intuitively, right? So how does, I last time I spoke to you as well, this kind of came through that you kind of take things with the flow, right? And you don't pre-plan. But I see that nowadays, all of us, including me, we try to pre-plan. What I want to do this year, next year. But somewhere I felt in your journey and in your lessons that you have not pre-planned everything. Like, what would you be doing next year? And so, how does one reach that state where you're just open for things to happen? And where does intuition fit in all of this?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think
Sure,
meditation definitely helps
sure,
because meditation definitely teaches you to be accepting things as they are. That's the basis of it all.
absolutely,
Acknowledging and accepting the way it is rather than the way you wanted it to be. So
right,
one of the very first lessons in meditation is non-attachment
right,
and being here in this moment
mm,
in a non-judgmental manner. So
mm,
that is again, it's tough to begin with,
right,
but once you start getting a hold of it, then
right,
you suddenly discover that it's an adventure.
mm,
It just sitting here, all of a sudden it could be an adventure
right,
because I'm not expecting you to say something,
yeah,
right? I am not preparing that I have to say things in a different way. If the values are in place,
right,
then it becomes a sense of adventure. It's
right,
just a discovery that keeps unfolding. Every moment something is unfolding and you are flowing with it.
right,
Yeah, but going back to how does one start? Is that,
Hmm. Yeah, how does, I mean, it's
or
not
you
only how
say
does one
letting
start.
go?
So
I mean, where because I see like a
mhm,
combination of two, three things here.
I see.
Right,
Sure.
one is starting with the practice, and then you learn that how does
Right.
one
Right.
acknowledge and accept
Mm,
whatever is coming,
right. Right.
right? So I
So
think
probably it becomes a kind of a result in a way that once you have begun the practice, stuck to it for a while, gone a little deeper, and there is significant time that you have invested and you start seeing these results,
yeah,
naturally you reach a state where you trying to go with the flow of sorts, and you take things that come your way, and you understand probably that the universe is a bigger
yeah,
entity than us, and me, although things may not be pre-planned as such, but things work out. Like I heard a very nice saying which said, if an ant and a spider has not gone hungry in this universe, and if the universe can take care of a single ant and a single spider, then
yeah,
I'm sure that this universe will take care of us in some way. And that kind
absolutely,
of a belief that you're kind of taken care of,
yeah,
and things will work out, probably will open us up for having that going with that intuition that, okay, let's go with
yeah.
the things that come. And then I sense a lot of that in your journey, actually, and how you
I
have
think
taken different decisions at different points in time.
I think Ramana Maharshi also pointed out something similar. He said when you
Right.
are traveling in a train,
Ah,
you don't have to carry your luggage on your head,
right.
right?
Right. Absolutely.
You just put it by your side. That will also reach
Absolutely.
there, so you don't have to
Absolutely.
worry all along, right? So as you were saying, the ant and
Brilliant.
the spider.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it applies even to us humans. It's just
Sure.
that we are unwilling to accept the
Absolutely.
larger laws of nature.
Right.
And yeah, I think in my own journey, I think the sense of adventure somewhere helped.
Right.
So my in my journey, I've always been take a little bit of risk, a little
Right.
bit of risk. You don't
Right.
just skydive without a parachute on your back, right? but,
Absolutely.
but if you need to enjoy the life in its full glory, then
Mm,
take risks, learn,
sure.
move along. So that's what I have felt in my journey. And
Fantastic.
then the meditation helps you quite a bit in
Sure.
in understanding that how minuscule things are,
Right.
the way the things that we actually control, or
Right.
we uh, think that we control more than
Mm.
we control very little, but we think that we control a lot.
Right. Right.
you know this that reminds me of a saying by Rumi.
Uh-huh.
you know so this was something like, when I was younger I wanted to change the world.
Mm.
Now I'm wiser, and all I'm trying to change is myself.
Brilliant.
So,
Brilliant. What a
no,
what a
so it's
nice
a
line.
and that is very hard.
Right.
Changing yourself is hard. That is why everybody wants to change the world, the relationship, the spouse,
Giving
the
advice.
kid.
Yeah.
I'll change this, I'll change that. He should change.
Absolutely.
Go in, and
Yeah.
that's the safest place. We keep trying to change X, Y, Z outside because it's easier.
Absolutely.
Easier
Yeah.
to point out things over there,
Right.
because mind can do that analysis very easily. This
Right.
needs to be changed. This needs. But when it comes to observing our own self,
Right.
and even if I don't like 10 different things over here, all I
Mm.
need to do is to keep observing. That's
Right.
the hard part,
Right.
right? So I'm always looking to change things outside.
And I think that's a brilliant, suggestion and practical setup way that you have, put across. It definitely inspires me
If
to
I
deepen
may
my
just put
practice.
in one line, I just heard you say,
Please put in. Yeah.
said
Anything you
earlier
want to
the
share.
better.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really beautiful,
Yeah.
because even at one point of time, even after having some experiences, I was always of the view that, yeah, once you retire,
Right.
once you're beyond 60, then it'll be beautiful. But when you said earlier the better,
Right.
it makes, I mean, all the sense in the world. Because
Right.
let's say if you're 30 today, right, and you think that, okay, once I retire, and I know that meditation is great.
Right.
It has so many benefits health wise. It will bring more productivity into my workspace, my relationships in house. So it works, all around.
Right.
But I will practice it after I retire or after a certain age. एक बार 50
Right.
cross कर लें,
Right.
after 50 then we'll start.
Right.
So what is the average lifespan?
Right.
So if it's 75, if you start learning at 60, maybe you'll take a couple of years to even get the benefits.
Right.
Then how many years are you actually? So let's just look at the return on investment, right? If we are talking
Spoken like a corporate.
business, yeah,
Yeah.
the business wise, the
Absolutely.
return on investment is for the last 13 years. If you learn it
Absolutely.
now at this age, let's say 30, you're 30, or even
Absolutely.
you have youngsters on an app.
Right.
Sooner they are learning all of this, you'll reap
Yes.
the benefits for the rest of the life.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't make any sense to postpone it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's icing on the cake that you said. To end the conversation, to everybody who's listening, if you are young, start now. If you are old, start now. The time is now. And then automatically the journey unfolds. Yeah.
Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
so much.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed. Thanks.
Same here. Thank you so much.